So in old Japan, they used to fight the summer's heat and humidity by telling ghost stories, believing that the fear brought on by those ghost stories would cool their bodies when their blood ran cold and their cold sweat broke out and goosebumps formed on their skin from hearing frightful stories of ghosts and demons and monsters. Yeah, I think with today's global warming and the economic recession, perhaps we should revive that tradition in summer and start telling ghost stories ourselves. So the ghost story I'm going to tell now to combat the summer's heat is one about a demon on a bridge. So a long time ago, there was a samurai who was drinking with his fellow samurai, and they began discussing aspects of their courage and bravery. And as young men do when imbued with the spirits, they began bragging. One samurai mentioned a bridge that was not too far from where they lived that had recently become haunted, as the locals had said. Supposedly a demon now inhabited the area and would not let anyone cross that bridge. And so the samurai felt this would be a test of true courage. The samurai, he decided he would take on this quest and he would cross that bridge. The other, his comrades thought him foolish, but when he began bragging more about his courage, they started to egg him on. And so the samurai decided to go through with it. However, he decided to be a bit clever, and he got his best horse and greased up the saddle and the horse's rump, and he donned his lightest clothing. Then he set out for the bridge. By the time he got to the bridge, the sun was setting, and as he got closer to the bridge, he suddenly noticed a woman standing there that he was sure he had not seen before when he first sighted the bridge in the distance. She was leaning on the railing and looking over, and as he drew near, she looked like she was lost. And for a moment he thought perhaps she was a poor woman that had been dropped off there by accident. The closer he came, the woman stared at him, looking to be somewhat shy and embarrassed of her predicament. But her eyes were hard and cold, and as the samurai drew near, he knew that this was the demon. So he did not stop and continued to ride on past. When he rode on past, the woman, expecting him to stop, as others had done before, grew angry and shouted at him, saying at first, "I was only dropped here by mistake. You should show me courtesy and give me a ride to the next village." But the samurai by now was too frightened to do so, and he spurred his horse on, riding faster. Then the woman began screaming and howling, and then the man knew that he had been correct. He turned back once to take a look, and instead of seeing a woman there, he saw a demon, completely red face with one large yellow eye as large as a cushion. The demon was 9 feet tall and a huge mouth full of ravenous teeth, and 2 hands with 3 knife-like claws, and it was running at him faster and faster. The samurai was scared out of his wits, and he spurred his horse on more to get it to go faster, and the demon almost caught him. But as the demon reached out to grab the horse, the hand slipped on the grease that he had put on it, and he was able to make his escape. But the demon screamed at him, "Oh well, I'll get you next time." Now the samurai returned to the house of his lord, and his fellow samurai were amazed to see him alive and asked him many questions. His lord actually was not impressed with his bravery and thought it foolish that he should risk his life just to prove his courage for a simple wager like that. The samurai was worried that the demon would follow through with its promise to get him next time. So he went to a diviner who told him that on the next year, when the day that he encountered the demon on the bridge, he should seclude himself in his house and not see anyone. And so when a year passed and the day came when he had encountered the demon on the bridge, he closed up his home and refused to see anyone, only allowing his servants to meet any visitors. As it turns out, the samurai had a younger brother who had gone away to the northern provinces with their aged mother, and it was this day that he returned. However, the samurai refused to see his younger brother, following the diviner's advice. The younger brother was rather put out and angry because he had traveled a long way and he had terrible news to bring, for their mother had died, and now he wanted to see his older brother. When the older brother heard the news, he was heartbroken, and he allowed his younger brother in, gave him some food, and the two embraced each other and cried. Now the samurai had a wife, and the wife was watching all of this from their room, and she saw the husband embrace his brother, and then all of a sudden they began wrestling and grappling and throwing each other around. She was amazed. She didn't know what to do, and then suddenly the older brother threw down the younger brother and held him tight, and he shouted to his wife, "Give me my sword, woman." And the wife thought he had gone mad and wouldn't move. And the samurai shouted again, "Do you want me to die?" And still the wife was amazed and confused, and she couldn't move. At that, the younger brother overthrew his older brother, tossed him on his back, and then his mouth opened wide, and he bit off his older brother's head with one bite. And then the younger brother turned into the demon that had been met on that bridge a year ago and said simply, "That's better." Then he rushed off into the night. When they looked at the baggage that the younger brother had brought with them, all they found were bones and skulls. And the people, when they heard the story, they felt the samurai was a fool to have risked his life for just a simple wager and to prove his courage.